Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Buhlabenko Simkandla, and welcome to the CFO Case Study Competition 2017. Standing right next to me is Team FIS, all the way from Indonesia. Welcome to Africa, South Africa, guys. I'm sure you're very excited. Can you share with me what is making you so excited today? You can't stop smiling. That's great. Can you share with me?
Yes, we are very, very excited. We didn't expect that we would pass until this stage. And we feel very honored that we can be invited to the semi-finals in Johannesburg. And yeah, we can't wait to do the competition and enjoy Africa.
That's perfect. And what are you most nervous about?
Well, I think us and other teams are all very nervous about the presentation itself. And we just hope that we won't stutter or suddenly have a stage fright on the stage. That's it. Yes. And solving the competition itself. Yeah, handling it.
And what can we expect from Team FIS at the semi-finals?
Well, a lot of preparation has taken away for us to be in the semi-finals, and we have trained a lot for the semi-finals, the question and answer, the presentation. So, yeah, expect a lot from us.
And do you have any message to your rivals, your opponents, anything at all?
Get ready, guys, we're coming.
That's great. Thank you so much, guys, and welcome once again. Congratulations for making it this far.
The Amango Case, researched, designed and developed by the CharterQuest Institute, is based on a real-world multinational business within the global metal and mining industry. It simulates the strategic decisions its group CFO and board faced or potentially faces. The group is faced with the complex interplay of strategic threats, weaknesses and opportunities, some of which are embedded with serious ethical dilemmas, involving compelling individuals and powerful stakeholders that create a context for significant organizational change. The board has published a 3-year viability statement and turnaround strategy with emphasis on 4 policy objectives. 1. Restructure the portfolio. 2. Deleverage the balance sheet. 3. Drive operational discipline. And 4. Change dividend policy. 6 major issues have surfaced that require the group's attention, for which the board has asked the teams to prioritize, evaluate, and offer strategic advice. Managing divisional performance group-wide. A strategic performance measure relied upon to evaluate and reward executives appears to be creating some dysfunctional behaviors with unintended consequences. The CFO Global aspirants were required to apply concepts relevant to financial and performance management, strategic management, as well as cost and management accounting. Strategic joint venture decision in Canada. A native Aboriginal group in Canada has been on rampage against mining companies, singling out Amango for exploiting mineral resources with too little benefit accruing to their clan. A number of mining companies, including Amango, are going into JV arrangements to mitigate this risk and undertake coal mining projects following resurgence in coal prices. There is need to decide on the best configuration for the mining infrastructure, amongst others. The CFO global aspirants were required to apply concepts relevant to risk and decision management, people and relationship management, as well as a clear distinction between traditional and modern cost management accounting techniques. Strategic disposal in Brazil. Amango, as part of an ongoing asset restructuring program, has received a $1.5 billion offer to buy one of its subsidiaries in Brazil. The offer needs to be evaluated taking into account its interconnection with the corporate reconstruction and reorganization issue. The CFO global aspirants were required to apply concepts relevant to financial reporting, international financial management, as well as strategic management. Balance sheet deleverage or share repurchase. Amango's iron ore and coal disposal plans in South Africa has come under attack by the PIC, its single largest shareholder, who is threatening to dump its shares in the market if it proceeds with the disposal plan. In a separate development, the government is about to promulgate a new set of mining regulations that will impose a 10% royalty tax on the turnover of all mining companies and require them to surrender 26% of their ownership to historically disadvantaged persons as part of its Black Economic Empowerment (BEE) policies. The company is considering to rather sell part of its residential property portfolio to a BEE group and use the funds to meet specified objectives. The CFO global aspirants were required to apply concepts relevant to financial accounting, interest rate risk management, financial management, business ethics, industrial and community relations, the management of government relations, as well as strategic management, operational risk and industrial action in Australia. A controlled shutdown has been hurriedly effected in one of the group's mines in Australia, with 560 personnel evacuated due to safety concerns. 6 are reported dead, and 80 miners trapped in deep underground mines have been rescued. The incident has invited us notice to strike from the trade unions, and there is a protected strike that is already in motion. The CFO global aspirants were required to apply relevant costs and benefits, financial management, public relations management, human resources management, supply chain management, operations and safety management, as well as business ethics, corporate reconstruction and reorganization. There is a fierce board debate over the strategic direction of the group, impacting on the decision as to which businesses to sell and which ones to keep. The CFO global aspirants were required to apply concepts relevant to ROI, RI, EVA, and strategic management.
Best wishes to the teams.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, Amango is in a very precarious situation right now. In recent years, it has seen its stock price constantly decline, so much so that it has lost over 75% of its market value. Aside from that, it has also been threatened to be delisted from the FTSE 100 equity index. Not only that, its public image has also been tarnished by so many problems related to their lack of safety management. In this presentation today, we'll be addressing 6 of Amango's most critical issues in order: in terms of time urgency, financial impact, stakeholders' implications, and the ethical issues. We believe that the key to putting Amango back on track is by determining the strategic direction of the company. Therefore, it is imperative that management decide whether to cut back or to maintain its portfolio among the uncertainties surrounding the commodities market. This is the fundamental issue that underlies all of Amango's challenges. Based on our calculations, we recommend Amango to keep its diamond, PGM, and copper segments because of their large margins and promising growth. Aside from that, we also recommend Amango to hold its iron ore and coal segments because they have the largest revenues and also the socio-political pressure involved. However, we do recommend Amango to divest its niobium phosphates and nickel segments because it has the least significant revenues and also unpromising outlook. This is the timeline. Note that for iron ore, re-evaluation should be done in 3 years, and that the timing for coal should be aligned with Amango's project in Canada, to be discussed later. Before selling off a segment, Amango should carefully evaluate its worth and only settle for the best buyer. After divestitures have been made, Amango should always plan reallocation of employees to maintain good relations with stakeholders.
The next issue we will be discussing is about the operational risk and industrial action in Australia, which has aggravated Amango's reputation and caused significant daily losses. Taking all factors into account, we strongly suggest Amango to construct a new mine shaft because it is safer and it delivers positive value of $48.73 million USD. To reduce safety risk, Amango should improve traffic management, information system, and develop safety procedures, training, and auditing guidelines. In addition, we recommend Amango to resume production with higher operational safety standards for the time being in order to maintain market share. As for implementation, we strongly suggest Amango to first conduct research and then communicate with involved parties regarding management's decision. And to reduce safety hazards, Amango should practice evaluation and frequent maintenance.
Moving on to our third issue, strategic disposal in Brazil. Amango has received an offer of $1.5 billion from CMOC, a Chinese-based mining company, to buy and integrate Amango's niobium and phosphate segment in Brazil. There are two ways Amango can address this issue: to accept or to decline the offer from CMOC. We believe it is best for Amango to accept the offer and sell MINP despite being offered $31 million below their fair value due to two underlying reasons. First, this would decrease their debt by as much as $452 million, thus enhancing their credit rating in return. Second, this will serve as a means to divest their less favorable mining segment. As for the implementation, Amango should first conduct due diligence on CMOC, accept the offer if the conditions are met, and communicate with all stakeholders regarding the acquisition.
The fourth issue is to choose between deleveraging Amango's balance sheet or buy back their shares with the proceeds from sale of residential apartment. FIS Consulting has valued this residential apartment to be worth approximately $8.2 billion. Based on analysis, we recommend Amango to deleverage its balance sheet by paying back its debt. By doing so, Amango will fulfill its KPI of target net debt below $10 billion by the end of this year. Furthermore, credit spread will also drop by 30 basis points, thus decreasing the cost of fund for the group. FIS Consulting also recommends Amango to comply with local regulations, participate in community developing to soften the blow towards unemployment level after its restructuring. This is so Amango can strengthen its relation with the community as well as the South African government. Let's move on to the next issue. Amango is about to commence its first mining project with joint venture partner FIS to prevent further conflict with local community. There are three long walls designs Amango can choose from. Based on our calculations and our assumptions, we recommend Amango to choose design 2 with the highest net present value among three other options. Furthermore, design 2 is relatively safer both for the environment and workers. It is important for Amango to specify responsibilities and exit clauses with joint venture. Location research should also be done to minimize risk. Only then can Amango start construction and initiate CSR activities. To enhance decision-making, Amango should implement better sustainability reporting, identify and manage environmental costs, and adapt life cycle costing system. The next issue will be discussed by my colleague Felicia.
So the last issue that we'll be discussing is about managing divisional performance group-wide. It is found that divisions are ignoring safety standards in order to save cost, but consequently increasing safety hazards. It is also discovered that production is only being ramped up during the end of the year to depict a false picture of profitability. And lastly, it was found that the internal refinery division has been abandoned due to high internal cost. So we suggest Amango to apply the ESOP system because it propels employees to focus on long-term value. And second, we recommend Amango to shift to variable costing because it better supports decision-making. And lastly, we recommend Amango to shut down its refinery division and apply outsourcing.
We have analyzed the impacts of our recommendations to Amango's balance sheet. First, the overall debt would decrease by 51%, thus reducing the debt-to-equity ratio from 1.08 to 0.43. As for the cash ratio, would increase from 1.18 to 1.45.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, we from FIS Consulting have walked you through our recommendations for 6 of Amango's most critical issues in order, in terms of time urgency, financial impact, and the stakeholders' implications. We're not exaggerating when we say that Amango is close to plunging into an abyss, but we are here to pull Amango back on track. First and foremost, on top of the management's agenda should be restructuring of the group. Only by deciding on this can management get a better picture of where Amango is going. And then, addressing the other issues becomes easier. Like in Australia, Amango should definitely construct a new mine shaft. In Brazil, Amango should accept CMOC's offer for its niobium phosphate segment. Amango should leverage its balance sheet, and by doing so, reducing the group's cost of fund. In Canada, Amango should construct Design 2 and practice better sustainability reporting. And lastly, of course, to enhance the morale of the employees, Amango should shift to the ESOP, change the variable costing, and completely outsource its refinery needs. It is important that Amango raise capital and reduce debt and enhance overall performance. Aside from that, Amango's managers should always adhere to the safety and ethical standards to maintain good relations with stakeholders. We're FIS Consulting, and we believe our recommendations will help put Amango back on track as the leading mining company that it was before. Thank you.
Thank you very much for a very clear presentation. What I miss, if I look at your first 2 priorities, which is restructure the group and construct new mine shaft in Australia, doesn't refer to people at the end of the day. If you look, any company, the greatest asset is actually your people. Can you just take us through your thinking and why there's no priority to people in your first 2?
Well, in our first issue that we prioritize is the reconstruction and restructuring of the group. It involves all kinds of employees and also stakeholders. And basically, we're saying that we want to make sure that corners are not being cut and that only the most favorable segments and promising segments are being focused on, and therefore more funds can be allocated to these divisions, and therefore improving the safety standards. And also in Australia, we do recommend that, although we do recommend that to resume the operations in the current shaft, however, we do want to make sure, and we do want to emphasize that safety ethical standards were not being held before, and that we hope that by doing so, by implementing these safety standards and not ignoring these standards, we can make sure that the employees are being, they're safe, and we can reduce the
environmental and safety hazards.
Thank you very much for the presentation. And just elaborating a little bit on the people part. So considering that Australia was one of the big priorities, what is your suggestion or advice to us as a board on how we're going to treat and manage the unions?
So regarding the issue in Australia, we know that this safety hazard issue has been the main problem in the site. And regarding the union, we first want to claim our position as a company that safety issue is our top priority. We have to make sure that Amango stated clearly to all stakeholders, which involves the employees, the regulators, and also communities, that safety is the main priority. And after we claim that that stance, we then go to the union and we ensure the safety standards by improving the traffic management information system and also the safety procedures that we proposed to you just now. And by doing so, we believe that the employee will be secured and will feel secured. That's why they will not stop the production or go against the company. So we have to make sure the company state its stance of having the safety as their priority, and then we improve the facility and also the equipment, and make sure that the procedures are done according to the auditing guidelines.
I would also like to add, however, that there was a union strike involving the wage cuts and also the safety standards that were Amango wasn't willing to improve its safety standards, and also regarding the wage cuts. We do recommend Amango to negotiate with the unions about the wage increase. However, if it fails, then Amango should comply, because it is important that Amango maintain its relations with the people around it, because it's the people that makes the business work. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation, very insightful. Two things I want you to clarify quickly for the board. You advise us to shut down the refinery in Australia and to outsource. Now, what we're missing as a board is there is no analysis. So we shut down and we abandon all our infrastructure, or we shut down and sell off, or do what? And then we outsource. When we outsource, what happens to all our employees? So you haven't given us insights into the advantages and disadvantages of those options. And then secondly, I like the fact that you keep saying safety is our priority. So that means you know. But you are advising us to resume production in the faulty shaft. What about the safety of our people?
Well, regarding the refinery division, well, we do recommend Amango to shut down and outsource. And we do this by doing so. We are actually recommending Amango to sell off its equipments and its capital involved, because it's not used and it's just a high cost to be on the balance sheet. But we do recommend, though, that Amango, although the refinery division has been closed, we do recommend it to reallocate its employees. And because we have a lot of these favorable segments, we hope that Amango can push these segments to grow. And by doing so, these employees can be reallocated to these places. And also,
for the second question regarding the resuming production with the current shaft, we clearly mentioned in the paper and also presentation that first, company needs to address the problem that is being involved in the current shaft. After that, only then the company can resume the production. It is also should be noted that other than clearly addressing, they should also improve the traffic management information system and also the procedures, integrate those safety developments into the company's operating model, so that there will be faster hazard recognition and also faster improved disaster management for the process in the production. Thank you.
Well done, guys. A good presentation, good financial analysis. I enjoyed it. Thank you. Just want to ask you around the power of social media now, and we're seeing how it can bring companies up and down. And just advice to us as the board around the deaths that have been in the press, the strikes. How would you suggest we handle that in social media?
Well, of course, the presence of social media is very important these days. And Amango has a lot of problems regarding to the union strikes and also all over the globe in its mine sites. And we do recommend Amango to constantly communicate with its stakeholders and also the people, the community around it, through a lot of workshops. Because social media, although it's important, I'm not sure if all of these people, these communities, these workers are going to get the point of Amango through social media. It is important, but we do recommend that face-to-face communication is best to make sure that they get that Amango is improving its safety stance. Thank you.
All right, thanks very much. Will you kindly walk the board through various ethical considerations that we've applied for each of the cases that you've analyzed? Secondly, you indicated the company comply with the proposed BE laws. What will be the impact on the current shareholding, but also on the already deplorable financial position?
For the first question, the ethical issues in each of the cases. For the reconstruction, of course, it involves all of the other cases, which is the reconstructing, the shutting down and selling off and expanding its segments. Yes, there are employees that will be laid off momentarily, we hope, because by focusing on these more promising segments, we hope that these employees can be reallocated to them. And for Australia, for example, there's that issue with resuming the shaft, although it's unsafe. But we do believe that was because there weren't enough safety precautions to begin with. And we believe that by focusing on that, we can try to avoid these issues. And in Canada, we chose Design 2 because it is the safest for the environment and also for the people. We believe that the business is a part of this earth, and that people, planet, and profit is all correlated. And so we believe that we have addressed all these ethical issues, and it's one of our priorities, actually.
Regarding the BEE program, we recommend Amango to negotiate with the government regarding the drafted charter, because we believe that Amango has 3 strong points in negotiating this drafted charter. First, Amango will sell the residential apartment to the newly established Black-owned property company. And this shows Amango the commitment to support Black empowerment economic program. And the second is, Amango will participate in community developing. And the third, the drafted charter says that 10% of royalties should be made into tax. And thus, Amango will be forced to divest its unprofitable segments after giving away 10% of its margin, therefore worsening the problem, because Amango have to divest their employees, to lay off their employees. Thank you.